Hey guys, it's Shon. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hi, welcome to my podcast. It's Not So Average with Shon Wilson, where I give you my take on, well, everything. I'm doing this just for fun, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do.
All right, Casper, are you going to behave? Or are you going to need to go out? Tell me now.
Hi, my name is Shon Wilson. Some of you know who I am, some of you do not. If you know who I am, it's probably because you're one of my friends and you're watching this first episode of my brand new podcast out of kindness. And for that, I say thank you and I am grateful. For those who don't know me already, perhaps an algorithm sent you my way or one of my awesome friends shared this podcast link to with you. I say welcome. Welcome. I am an actress in Los Angeles. I have been here for 11 years, and it has occurred to me that I would like to share some of the experience that I've gotten over those 11 years with other people, and particularly with the not so average dreamer, that person who's possibly in middle America or some other part of the world, and it seems to them like they're so far away from where they need to be to accomplish whatever's in their heart to do. Whether it's that they would like to act like me, or they want to sing or dance or write, or maybe it's that they want to start a business. You know, I mean, is that you? Do you have this idea of something that you want to do, some dream that it feels like it's so far away from you, possibly literally far away, like it was for me? I lived in North Carolina for 15 years before I came here. See, I'm from the Southeast and my family is still there. When I got out of college, actually the spring semester before I finished my senior year, I was immediately offered a job at a professional theater company in my hometown. I was freaking lucky. Like, I got to immediately go to work doing this thing that I had dreamed my whole life of doing. And so because I had the comforts of knowing the city, making a living as an artist, and then my family was right there too, I stayed there for a very long time. I stayed in Charlotte for 15 years working as a professional before I finally bit the bullet and came to Los Angeles. One of the reasons why it took me so long to do it is because it felt like it was so far away. I mean, come on. It is far away, right? I think it's like 3,000 miles or something between the East Coast and the West Coast, or between Charlotte in particular and Los Angeles. I don't know the exact number, but I know if you drive it, it takes 3 days. So that constitutes far. And then psychologically too, it felt so beyond what I had the bandwidth to do at any time before I finally did it. And because I know that feeling, because I know that feeling of having something that you feel deep in your heart or your gut or just even in your mind that you really would like to do, but not knowing how to get started or how to move forward from what you've already done or how to go further or higher, I was like, let me share some of my experience with these other dreamers out there. The not so average dreamers, the ones who don't just go, oh yeah, it would be nice to like one day maybe do. No. You're the one that you're jotting down notes all the time, or you're auditioning for whatever is available for you to audition for, or you're starting little side hustles to supplement your income, you know, while you work the 9-to-5 job that you don't quite love, but you're very grateful for because it is paying for the food that you're eating right now while you're watching my podcast. I see that sandwich. So the not so average dreamer, in my opinion, is that person who has the willingness to try. Not everything we try is going to work. Trust me. No. Not everything we try is going to feel the way we thought it would feel, or make us feel the way we thought it would make us feel once we got it, once we started doing it. But the trying part is the important part. Because no matter what happens in the final outcome, if there's even such a thing as a final outcome, the trying gives you a not average life. The trying gives you experiences that most people don't have. And so I want to encourage other not so average dreamers to do the thing you feel you should be doing. And hopefully the stories of my experience doing this for the past, dare I say it out loud? Let's just say it's been multiple decades. We'll just leave it at that. Hopefully the things that I share with you will be inspirational for you. And if you've been on the fence about trying, that'll give you the gumption to start. I said gumption, y'all. Come on. I'm super Southern. I said gumption, and I'm about to drink this water. Let me just say, there is a part of my mind that is an absolute show off because I don't use the word gumption. So something inside of me was like, ooh, you have an audience. Summon it up. Anyway. Yeah. So hopefully something that you hear from me will make you believe that you can do it too, because I believe you can do it. I believe that you should do it, even if it doesn't turn out to be the thing you thought it would be. Because sometimes we don't know, like, oh, there's this great line in a song from Into the Woods by Stephen Sondheim. And the line is, how can you know what you want till you get what you want and you see if you like it? Now, I can't remember if it's Cinderella who says it or the baker's wife who says it. And for those who aren't familiar with Into the Woods, it's an adult musical that tells the lies behind the lives of the fairy tale characters that we know from like Grimm's fairy tales or Charles Perrault or any of those guys. So anyway, getting back to you and me, you know, those of us who are not so average dreamers, how can we know what we want until we get what we want and we see if we like it or not, right? So this is why I like to encourage people to give it a shot. And then also I like to encourage people that if you end up not liking something, feel free to give yourself the grace and the permission to stop doing it and find something else that does work. Now, I would love to answer questions. So if anybody ever has a specific question about the pursuit of an uncommon life, being a not so average dreamer, being someone who's wanting to take the thing that they're passionate about and turn it into a career or at least a regular practice, feel free to drop me a line. Shoot me a message. You can either email me at live@notsoaveragedreamer.com, or you can always, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can always write your question in the comments. I will review those on a regular basis and I will address the topics that come up. But because this is the very first episode and I don't have anybody's questions to answer yet, I am going to share some insights with you that I think are apropos for this being. I said apropos. Like, once again, this is a word I never use. What the heck? I do say heck. No. I say something else that ends with a CK most of the time. But anyway, I'm going to talk right now about nerves. And hey, who knows? Maybe it's nerves that's making me say things like gumption and heck. I don't know. I don't think I'm nervous with this podcast today, but I want to share with you an experience that I did have with nerves. So when I moved here to Los Angeles, I had already been a professional actor for 15 years. I was very confident in my ability to audition for both theater and on-camera work. And I never had any concerns going into an audition by the time I got to, you know, what my life was like, what my career was like when I moved here. I never had any concerns about whether or not I got the job. It was that I was going to go in, I was going to show them what I do. And then if I got the job, great. And then if I didn't, I never thought about it because I had so many years of my skin getting thicker. It didn't start that way. When I first started auditioning, I was in high school and my hand used to shake. At my high school, we did cold readings. We didn't do prepared monologues for theater auditions. And my little hand would just sit there and shake, you know. And then when I got to college, I stopped being nervous in auditions because at college, they let us prepare monologues for our auditions. Well, preparation takes away most of what's scary about doing anything, right? So because I had chosen the piece myself and I had memorized it, memorizing helps you not be nervous, and then crafted the performance of it, the way I wanted to do it, when I walked on the stage to audition for something in college, I was confident in my ability to do a good job. And needless to say, I had a much, much, much better booking ratio in college than I did in high school, right? And then when I got out of college and moved to Charlotte, clearly I had confidence at this point because I also had the degree to back me up. Pardon, that I will probably edit out because it's like super loud and just rude. I don't even know why there's something in my throat right now. It's probably cat hair. Casper, is it you? I have an orange tabby. An orange tabby who I love. He's not an actor. In fact, he could care less what other people think. But moving on. So getting back to an experience that I had with nerves that I wanted to share with you. It happened once I moved here. And I didn't anticipate it either. See, it happened during my first pilot audition. I'm very, very, very lucky in that I met a casting director my first year in Los Angeles at what was at the time, I don't even think they do them anymore, but they're called casting director workshops. And it's an opportunity that these little privately owned institutions provided for actors where they would have casting directors come in and we could meet them. We'd bring our headshots and resumes and, get to know them. It's technically supposed to be a teaching opportunity, but of course, a big part of success in anything you do is who you know and who knows you. So the networking aspect of it was invaluable. And one of the most major casting directors in the city at that time took a liking to me in her workshop, and she invited me to an actual audition that was going to take place a few days later. Now, let me just say, I don't know if this is important, but I do want to clarify, just because I am talking about nerves. This was not my first time meeting this casting director. I had gone to one of her workshops before, several months before the one in which she invited me to come to a subsequent audition. And I wanted to share that because of the fact that it would make sense that if it was my first time meeting her when I went to audition, of course I would have nerves, but no, it was not that. We had built a rapport at this point, and she was a super nice lady. I wish I could name drop her, but because of all the hubbub that happened with workshops and this market of Los Angeles, I don't want to get her in any kind of trouble. So I'm going to keep that to myself. But anyway, so she invited me to audition for a pilot of a brand new show. Well, I mean, clearly it's a brand new show. It's a pilot. Sorry. Or maybe some of you don't know that. Maybe somebody watching doesn't know the lingo of the TV land. Yes, a pilot is when there's a brand new show that is going to premiere. That very first episode is called the pilot episode. I'm sure that at this point in our entertainment knowledge, everybody knows that, but just in case you don't, that's what I mean when I say I was invited to audition for a pilot. And so I did what I do. I memorized the lines, I prepared, I crafted my audition, I was confident, I felt like me, the same way that I had felt for the past 15 years before this moment presented itself to me. And on the day of the audition, I went into the room, not the room where you actually audition, but the lobby of the casting director's office. And I signed in and I sat down and I still felt confident. And I felt fine. I'm pretty much broadcasting what's coming, right? Then other actresses started to come in. And these were actresses that I had seen on TV. And they were all auditioning for the same exact role I was auditioning for. Now, that by itself is enough to cause some nerves. But I don't think it did. There was a little bit of, oh, okay. But I wasn't nervous yet. Then I went in the room when I was called in to do my audition, and I did what I planned. And thank God I'm a planner, because what I hadn't planned on was what my body decided to do in this moment. My body got all tingly and hot. And so fortunately, because I had prepared, I had blocked my audition, and I'm a dancer too, so muscle memory is like a thing for me, not to mention I'd been memorizing lines for, at this point, I want to say 20 years. So my memory was strong. My muscle memory was strong. I had a plan. I knew what I was doing. I did what I was there to do. And then I was thanked, and because that's what they do. They thank you. And I can't remember because it's been so long ago now. It's been 11 years now. I can't remember if I was talked to by the casting director or that casting associate who had called me in at that time, but I did hear from her subsequently at a later time that I had done a really good job, and she was happy that she had brought me in. But they had decided to go with someone who was local to the country where the show was going to be filmed, so I didn't get the role. But getting back to this nerves thing, so when I left, it's almost like I didn't even know where I was. I walked out of that room and I went into the lobby, and then I had to reorient myself. Because remember, guys, my body had been tingling and I was all warm and everything, and my mouth was dry. And I walked out of the casting office and made my way somehow to the elevator and hit a button. I assume it's the right button because, eventually I made it home. But I remember being so aware of what my body was doing and not understanding it, because I knew it was nerves, and I was a professional and I hadn't had nerves in decades. And you know how when you're watching a movie or a television show, there'll be a character. I don't even know if this is a joke that they do anymore. Now that I think about it, it might be a very dated joke. But when a character is so nervous about something, they faint. I never understood what that was. I was like, that just seems like a contrivance. That doesn't seem like something that someone would really do. I think it is something that people could really do. Because when my body got all tingly and my body was warm and my head tightened some, it's because I wasn't breathing the way I normally would breathe. I wasn't getting enough oxygen. Now, I have processed since then what happened. And it didn't take long. I think I knew right away what it was. And it was this. And then we're going to get to the reason why I'm sharing this particular experience with you for my first episode of this podcast. What I was experiencing was up-leveling. I had leveled up. Yes, I had auditioned a ton of times before. I mean, way more than a ton of times before. And I had been successful at it the majority of those times. But this was now a new thing. The stakes in Los Angeles are higher by nature of the types of jobs available in Los Angeles than the stakes were in Charlotte, North Carolina, or when I was in college in DC. And because the stakes were higher, even though I wasn't conscious of it, there was a part of me internally that knew that this was so, or assumed that this was so important. There's a part of me that made it much more important than I can now say I needed to make it, because there have been so many other auditions since that day. But that was my first pilot audition once I moved to Los Angeles. And it was my first television audition upon my moving here. So I wanted to share that with you guys, particularly since, like I said, this podcast is geared towards those people who have something that they're really, really passionate about doing, really want to do, excited about doing, hopeful to do one day, make it a practice or a profession, but they haven't been able to yet. Be prepared. I don't mean to sound like dun, 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 but when you take that first step, or that next step, there's going to be something probably that makes you nervous about it. Because if you weren't a little bit scared of it already, you would have done it by now, right? So if you have that experience, if you have body reactions like I did, or you find yourself discombobulated, or you're like dropping things, or you can't get your thoughts together or whatever, if you find that happening, do not let it deter you. Please. Just know that it simply means you are now operating at a higher level than you have been before. And with that comes some fear. And with that comes, you need to give yourself the grace to feel that fear. Don't pretend it's not there. okay? Because resistance will just make it flare up even higher. Give yourself the grace to feel that fear, to have that fear, and let yourself know that eventually you won't have that fear when you're doing this thing. That was literally the only audition that I've done here. Maybe there was one more in the 11 years where I had a nerve reaction. But for the most part, that it never really happened again. So when you start something new, when you go to the next level, it sounds elementary. It's like, well, yeah, Shon, of course, if you start something new, you're going to be kind of nervous. I don't know that we always know that. We're in this world now where we think we should be subject matter experts on everything, right? Twitter has given everybody an equal opportunity to express opinions about things they know nothing about. And so everybody thinks they're an expert at everything. And that means that there are times when we legitimately forget to remember that we don't have to know everything. We don't have to be proficient at everything. We don't have to always be strong. So if that fear comes up for you, or it's nerves, or it's whatever way it manifests, when you take that first or that next step, allow for it. And also remind yourself that it is temporary. That feeling will not always be there. Eventually, you'll be able to do the thing in the zone. You know, we talk about being in the zone, particularly for those of us that are artists. It'll become second nature for you. It'll be your background program. It'll be your operating system to do these things. But when you take that next step, the one that you've been hesitant to take, if you have nerves, know that you are not alone. We all have nerves when we level up. And with that being said, I want to thank you guys for sticking with me for the past 20 minutes, for watching my very first episode of this podcast. I've been toying with some names. There's a couple of names that I've had in mind. And if you want to weigh in, please, if you are watching this on YouTube or anywhere where you can leave comments, write your idea in the comment section of that platform. Here, or not your idea, your vote of my two ideas. Sorry, I said that completely wrong. But the first idea that I had was that I would call it Unsolicited with Shon Wilson, because I'm giving unsolicited advice. Nobody asked me for this, but I'm doing it. And the second, because I like this term so much, and you'll see it on my social media posts because I do use it for those, is the Not So Average Dreamer. One of those two will be the name of this podcast. Hopefully we'll find out before the second episode. Actually, you know what? You probably already know. Ooh, I probably shouldn't have asked y'all for your ideas. I don't know. Because the thumbnail is going to have to say something, right? And the title of the video or the podcast title is going to have to say something. I have to come up with a name. So I guess you guys don't really get to vote on it initially, but I do still want your thoughts. Let me know what you think about the name I've chosen out of the two that I just told you about. And then we'll go from there. In the meantime, have a wonderful week. I will see you the next time I drop one of these. If you want to follow me on social media, I would love to see you there. I will follow you back. My social media accounts are on TikTok, where I sing, Shon Wilson Official. On Instagram, Shon Wilson Official. On Twitter, The Real Shon Wilson. On Facebook, oh wait, no. There is no the. On Twitter, it's just Real Shon Wilson. And then on Facebook, Shon Wilson Official. You guys, thank you for watching or listening if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, like everybody likes to say. And I will talk to you soon. If you have a question, shoot me an email. live@notsoaveragedreamer.com. Bye. Casper, did you fart?
Aren't my theme songs fun? I found them at Purple Planet Music. You can find music for your projects there too. Just go to purple-planet.com.